My name's Guy Kestevan. I've been a bike and kit tester professionally for over 27 years, and I've just completed the Cycling UK Marcher Castles Way route through Shropshire and the Welsh Marches. And whenever I do these routes for Cycling UK, I do the recce ride, I make a video on that, and then I write the guidebook when I come back. So it's just a way of sense checking the route and making sure everything works out fine. But after those videos, I always get a lot of inquiries about what bike and equipment I've used. So here's a quick talk through on the Santa Cruz Stig-Marcher gravel bike that I put together for the Marcher Castles Way and how all the different pieces of equipment and choices I made worked out on the route. So first thing to say, it's my Santa Cruz Stig-Marcher, which I've had for nearly a year now. Quite a progressive angled, so slack head tube, long top tube gravel bike. And in this build, it's got RockShox Rudy 40mm suspension fork up front. On my little take 50mm tyres, I was actually running it with 45mm tyres, and these are the new Panaracer Gravel King X1. I went with the X1, which is the more reinforced version rather than the X1R, just to give myself an extra bit of peace of mind. As you know, I was hitting the rough. Obviously, I'm riding loaded. The last thing I want to do is get a puncture. So this is the slightly heavier reinforced tyre. And I'll do a full review of this tyre and the X1R, which is the lighter racing tyre, in a separate video. But suffice to say, they worked. Yeah, flawless, no punctures, surprisingly fast on the road. Reasonable feel. They don't feel heavy and slow like a lot of reinforced tyres can. And yeah, tipped in and out of turns. Never struggled for grip, even on some of the wetter sections, coming through some boggy bits, but still felt perfectly well behaved and nice and fast on the road as well. So really, currently one of my favourite tyres in all the different versions. And I put them on reserve rims. So again, it's Santa Cruz's sort of partner wheel brand. These are the 25, so it's basically an old cross-country rim. So again, really tough rim. You can see here you've got little pontoons reinforcing the spoke holes. So tough rim, lifetime warranty. But the other reason I ran these rather than anything deeper is you get plenty of room for the valve to stick out, because obviously you've run deeper section rim. Where are my 303s? Got the 303s up there. That's with the other Panaracer tyres on, actually. You can see deeper section rim, so it's faster, but while it's fine when you're running tubeless, if you suddenly have to find yourself in an inner tube, I mean, I took plenty of inner tubes, as we'll see later, but if you suddenly have to find a bunch of inner tubes, then a bunch of inner tubes with longer stems, then you're really going to struggle for spares potentially. So that's why I went with these rims. They're really strong, they're comfortable, and they're not the fastest rims, certainly, but they're a really good, reliable rim. And again, DT Swiss 350 hubs, the absolute epitome of reliability, because the last thing I wanted was something to go wrong in the middle of nowhere. What else have I got here? Zip bars. These are the new Zip SL70 Explorer bars. And you can see they've got that new flare coming into the levers there, plenty of support. To be fair, I didn't like the back sweep. They had more back sweep, I'm sure, on the previous Explorer bars from Zip, and I found these a little bit straight, but I just use the hoods most of the time. And big news here, the big upgrade I fitted for this trip is this new SRAM Red Explorer group set. So completely new lever shape. Apologies for the bad tape in there. Completely new lever shape, a longer lever, so it's got more reach, and a completely new brake arrangement as well. So a lot more powerful braking, more leverage, more comfortable braking. I mean, I actually smoked the rotors on some descent. Turn it around there, you can see there's actually a little bit of bronzing on the outside of the rotor. So there's some significant braking gone through these, but zero problems at all. You can see that cutaway caliper there. Also helps the braking as well, so helps with the heat dissipation. But yeah, super. I mean, that's probably the highlight of the bike in terms of control, was the extra braking power. And also, you've got these little blip buttons up top here for the shifting, as well as the conventional shifters there, which, to be honest, I didn't use it a huge amount, but it's quite a nice feature to have up there. Interestingly, while I normally run the levers slightly up, I ran them flat because that's how you meant to. That's why this pattern is on there, so help you line them up flat. And at first, it took a little bit of getting used to, but after that, it felt really, really natural, felt really good. And actually, I got a blister on the final day in the palm of my hand, so I turned the bars up slightly, and that actually ended up feeling more uncomfortable. So before I ride it the next time, I'm going to actually flatten those levers back out again. One thing, absolute essential, although didn't actually see very few people out on the road, that little clip-on bell, it just clamps onto any brake hood, just makes a real difference if, on the towpath near Montgomery or dropping into Church Stretton. That's where it got used most of the time. Oh, and a bit in Ironbridge, I think, but apart from that, barely got used at all because it was such a deserted, people-free route. Little light, very much a bare minimum, 400 XL from Design. And then Hammerhead GPS. It's the old Hammerhead, it's not the new one, still waiting for that for test. But just it actually, again, no trouble at all with that all through the ride. Restrap, race fuel tank bag. This is the mid-sized one, so I've emptied it now, but it had a power pack on this side, and it just sits in behind this elastic there, and you can put all your cables you need in there. That's what I have my GoPros, have my snacks in there, and you've got room on the outside for quick access stuff, but actually a really good size, fully waterproof, relatively light, made in Leeds. There's a factory tour coming up with those guys. And then out the back, we've got Restrap's 18-litre saddle pack. Again, it's a modular design. I've used all-in-one bags before and couldn't really see the point of a modular until I actually started using it and just being able to just pull that whole bag. You've got, 1.5 kilos of overnight kit, spare clothes, chargers, electronics, first aid kit. Basically, I was going to use a bar bag as well, but it turned out because the weather was pretty much guaranteed to be good, I only had a very lightweight waterproof with me, so it all fitted in that rear bag there. And then you just got this hod on there that just stays on there. Double security around the seat post. This lace-up design seems really solid. Again, double straps on the saddle rail there. That's a feature on the 18-litre bike packing bag. The smaller one doesn't get a double because it doesn't need it. And then this is really handy. Magnetic fidlock catch on there. And yeah, really good, really solid bag. No problem at all with it swaying about. Felt great. I got very little rain, a tiny shower on the final day, but there wasn't any sign of any water seeping in. The only thing I would say, because it's angled up so steeply rather than being flat, you do have to get used to swinging your leg over the top tube if you're used to swinging your leg over the back of the bike. That ain't going to work so well. This saddle, SDG Bel Air. I originally put this on when I first built the bike up just because it matched the bar tape I was running at the time. I have to say, it's been super comfortable. I've now done well over 1,000 kilometres on it and have not had a bad moment at all. So great little saddle that, and the cutaway seems to help with ventilation and pressure relief on really hot days and not showing any signs of wear. So big thumbs up for that SDG XC sort of gravel saddle there. Zip carbon fibre post. I have got a dropper post for this bike, but obviously you can't use a dropper with a seat pack, so I didn't bother with that. And again, no complaints from the carbon fibre post. Hasn't sheared off or done anything nasty, even though it's a relatively lightweight post. Zero problems there. The other thing that's a bit of a struggle with this bag, because it drops down, there's only a very narrow gap to put a light in. So I ran a USE, I always say USE still, Explosion tracer light on there. I did have another Design on the back there, but unfortunately that is now somewhere en route. So if you find a little backlight spare, then it's mine, but you're welcome to keep it. Hope it comes in handy. At the back again, Gravel King X1. They do a semi-slick, but I wasn't sure of conditions, and again, just wanted maximum traction, so just went with the X1 again, and yeah, no problems with grip, still rolled fast enough, felt great out there. And then there's already a full separate review of this SRAM Red Explorer group set on here, but I have to say, it's a bit dry now. The lube got wiped off while it was going through a lot of grass on the final day, but absolutely no problems. 13 speed, what I particularly, so you've got slightly larger gear. I did use that a lot, I'm not going to lie. There were some strenuous hills on this route, so I was in that 40-46 gear quite a lot and was very glad of it. But the other bonus feature on this is, as you can see, there's still quite a lot of undergrowth in here. And there were definitely some times when the feature on this bottom jockey wheel, it's the same jockey wheel set as on the XXSL mountain bike transmission. If something catches through there, the outer section can actually still spin around. And I definitely felt that engage at a couple of points, which is a real relief when otherwise, if that had got a stick jam through it, it could have ripped the whole rear mech off. So, and obviously there is a restriction there because, it's a direct, what they call a full mount rear mech, so it only works with the UDH hanger. So there aren't actually that many bikes that it'll fit to yet, but this Santa Cruz Stig-Marcher is one of them. And just ran the one battery all the way through the ride, no problems at all. As you can see, it's still flashing green there. It's not on low yet. I took a spare battery with me just in case, because I didn't want to get marooned without gears, but no problems at all on there. And then up front, 40-tooth chainring with Quark chain guide built in. And again, this is a very lightweight chain set, but seems rock solid. I've put 300k into it on this route. I must have done another 100k outside of that, just getting used to the bike with this new kit on. And absolutely zero problems at all. Got a bit of grass wedged in behind it, but that didn't seem to affect the function at all. It seemed fell out. And again, yeah, you can see on back, bit of bronzing there on the brake rotor. But again, the braking has to be. The braking and that kind of lower bottom end on the cassette, because you've got 13 speed rather than 12, you've got much smaller gaps through that range there. So on the flatter, faster sections of the ride, I really, really appreciated that. I would say, however, that if I was doing the route again, I'd probably go for what SRAM called a mullet setup with a 1052 on the back. So a broader gear range than that 1046, just to help me out with more crawler gears on some of the steeper sections. So first things first, multi-tool, just so it's easy to get to with the CO2 head on it. It's in that little, it's actually a thermal mug holder, just cut away, just so it wouldn't rattle on the side of the frame. So we've got that there. And what's next? And we've got the top stash bag. As you can see, surprising how much you can fit in one of these frames. So in here we've got PE's CO2 sort of stabber with your puncture repair kit in there for your plugs, tyre plugs, that's what we're talking about, tyre plugs in there, a little bottle of PT's lube to refresh, tyre lever, CO2 cartridge. These are really handy. Restrap, little tyre boots in there, lightweight inner tube, pair of Nipex pliers, and spare chain links. So that's kind of toolbox stash. And then in the second bag, you've got another 2 spare tubes, and then from memory, up top here, yeah, there it is. There's the spare Axis battery, just tucked up there for safekeeping. So the nice thing about those, I mean, they're all polyurethane tubes or lightweight tubes, just because I wanted to test them if anything went wrong. It seemed like a good opportunity. Plus they're light and they don't take up a lot of space, but they are quite fragile. So being able to stuff them down out of the way inside the frame protects them, and it just keeps them out of the way. It just keeps the whole bike more, means I don't have to run as many external bags, but I still know I've got all my essentials there. So that works out really well as far as I'm concerned. So, bit of a rough and ready talk through there, but things like the fork, the Red Explorer group set, the tyres I'll have covered off in separate videos, and I've done several videos on the Stig-Marcher itself, so from Dirty Reaver and First Rides and Struggle Borderlands. So there's plenty of information elsewhere on my channel on various elements on this bike. But obviously, if you do have any questions about this particular build, then jump into the comments below. Always love chatting with you guys about these videos and about bikes and about tech, and if I can make any recommendations, I definitely will. As to whether I'd use this spec again, zero complaints on, the new bars felt great, the brakes are fantastic, the fork yet again proved itself really useful. Having a more stable, longer, more capable frame really works when you're tired. It did not put a foot wrong at all on 3 long, pretty arduous days in the end. No complaints about the tyres, didn't have a single puncture, they rolled fast, but I was never felt short of grip. The Red Explorer felt absolutely great again, absolutely flawless 13-speed shifting, but I would say I'd probably go with a 1052 and a mountain bike rear mech if I was to do the route again, just to give my legs a bit more respite on the longer, steeper climbing sections. I did spend a lot of time in that bottom gear on some climbs where it would have been nice to have a bit of a variability rather than just bottoming out straight away. And and the restrap kit has been absolutely superb. First big ride with the backpack, with the saddlebag and the fuel bag, and they are definitely going to be my go-to bags from here on in. I think it was a real lesson actually, learning the whole sort of HOD and separate bag thing. So convenient when you stop somewhere, you just pull out the bag and then just slide it in the next day and you're ready to go. You're not faffing with resetting all your straps. It just means everything's just that bit more stable, and surprised how much essential stuff you can get in there as well. So yeah, and obviously, not a cheap rig by any stretch of the imagination. It's a £4,000 group set on a bike that, with a multi-1,000-pound carbon frame, best part of £1,000 in the fork, well over that in the wheels, and the bars are expensive too. So don't think you need to have a bike even 10% the cost of this to go and tackle this route or any of the Cycling UK routes. You can pick up a decent gravel bike now from £500 or a mountain bike hardtail, which you'll be perfectly capable of tackling this route and having a really enjoyable time. And, I'm sure you can hopefully beg, borrow, or even hire bike packing bags and things like that. And if you're just starting out on your bike packing and multi-day biking journey, then I'm sure people will be only too glad to help you out. So don't feel there's a price barrier to entry and you need, what is absolutely a super bike. So don't worry in any way that you need to spend this much to have a great time riding this route or any of the other Cycling UK routes. So massive thanks to Cycling UK for bringing me on again as the narrator and curator of this route. I'm not the creator, don't add that. That's Kieran Foster, who I work with very closely on these routes. He puts the kind of grand scheme together, then we talk it through together. I go out, ride the recce route, make any adaptations that we feel we need once we're on the ground, and then I write it up, I produce the video, and then Cycling UK publish the guidebook, and they do the nicer photos rather than me just pointing my iPhone at stuff. And the whole thing comes together for you to enjoy. So if you are considering doing the route, definitely get the guidebook from Cycling UK. And while you're there, I would very much encourage you to join Cycling UK. Fantastic charity, does a lot of advocacy work for cycling in general, creates these routes, although to be fair, this route came about from a private donation. So very, very grateful to the member that made that happen on this one. But they campaign a lot for cyclist access, cyclist rights. You get discounts, you get a monthly magazine, and you get insurance as well. So a super package for all cyclists for a very reasonable price if you join Cycling UK. But thanks to my channel sponsors as well, who subscribe on Patreon, and thanks to my industry supporters as well, who will be listed at the end of this video. But for now, I've been Guy Kesteven on Guykest TV, talking you through my Santa Cruz Stig-Marcher build that I used for the Cycling UK Marcher Castles Way route. And now we've got a long old drop down into Church Stretton. So this is the payback for all those slow pedal strokes on the uphill.
Obviously, just be careful, because while it's pretty much deserted, oh, there we go, there's a couple of people coming up now. You know, you are going to meet people coming up as well as going down. Alright. So, you know, walkers, kids, dogs, as well as bikers, so don't go mad. Keep it sensible. Especially if you're on a gravel bike, because as you can see, it does get chunky in places. Oh, proper chunky. Wait. Yeah. That'll get an advisory sticker in the guidebook for sure.